And there's three things that go into it. Between the different studies I read, that gets to like three things that point to why people hate that word. And so the word moist, again, moist. A lot of people don't like hearing it, and it's in part because it's more unpleasant to say. Again, there's three reasons people hate moist. The first one about it being unpleasant to say is going to be, we'll call that unpleasant phonetics. The second reason we'll call bodily association or possibly bodily fluid association. And the third part we'll call social contagion, uh, meaning it's contagious. Hatred of that word is contagious through society anyway. So again, getting back to unpleasant phonetics. Why do people hate this word so much? Is because it's just super unpleasant to say, to say to do the muscle, to make our muscles work, to say all the sounds in moist in that order, and altogether it's just sort of unpleasant to people. Like the physical muscle movements required to say moist, all together moist. Um, they actually contract the facial muscles in ways that people end up associating with expressing disgust. So if saying the word alone reminds you of talking about things that you really don't like and that really disgust you, so then automatically that word, not because of the meaning, but because of how it sounds and how it feels to pronounce, makes us really hate it that way, right? So there's that part of it. So there's just the unpleasant phonetics. That's the first dumb reason why people hate the word moist. And by the way, if anybody in the chat wants to add any reason, anything about how they feel about the word moist, or if there's any other words that really grab you the wrong way, just like that, that would be interesting. So just saying, you're welcome to participate. So please do. And so on top of the unpleasant phonetics, how it's just people are get feeling uncomfortable, feeling kind of disgusted already just by saying the words, just by having to put these phonemes together with their little muscles moist. That's one reason. Now another reason is less about how the word sounds. Well, it's not so much about how the word sounds or how we pronounce it, but it's about meanings of it, and it sort of, and I called this reason bodily association or even bodily fluid association, but that's because the word moist sort of instinctively conjures up, like instinctively brings to mind gross bodily functions, often involving fluids like sweating, perspiration or phlegm or anything like that. Or well, we even have other bodily fluids that can be associated with it too. And that really triggers sort of natural feelings of disgust. People don't want to be sort of forced to think about bodily fluids or bodily functions that we don't like. So naturally, the word moist brings that up, and so people hate it, hate the word itself. And some people actually are likely to think of more sexual bodily functions, which can gross them out as well. So I mentioned perspiration and phlegm, but I also mentioned those other things, and let's not. I don't want to gross people out too bad, but that's what's on a lot of people's minds when they hear the word moist. So naturally, it's going to make them feel a little disgusting with that too. So yuck, yuck. But anyway, and to me, this is kind of funny because I think that's the part that makes me pleased to use that word, because I don't think of disgusting bodily functions, but I know it might trigger some other people too. So that's a little joke for me. Like, for instance, my sister-in-law makes a delicious turkey every year at Thanksgiving, and I almost can never help myself but say, yeah, this turkey is really nice and moist, but but that's just, I can't really help it. Um, but it is delicious. Anyway, I want to mention that part. And that's the one thing about the word moist. Context matters. Like, because people who would really be, who can barely stand the word in most contexts, might not mind it so much if somebody's saying, oh, wow, this delicious piece of chocolate cake is so moist. It is great. Thank you for it and all that. They might be okay with that use of it, right? If we're talking about cakes and pastries, maybe that's fine. Um, but in most any other context, it grosses people out. Anyway, so there's that. So there's all those things about the unpleasant phonetics. It's just kind of gross to say. And then there's the bodily association with the meaning. So it's gross to hear, to think about what it means and all that. And then the third part I wanted to mention is something that plenty of studies pointed to, which is social contagion, which means if some people in society are really disgusted by the word moist, that can spread. That can be contagious in the way, because hatred of the word moist is such, it's like a popular meme. It's a well known pop culture staple, like I mentioned. It's that ends up bringing some social reinforcement where we know that a number of people, plenty of people hate this word. So that will cause other people to also dislike it, other people to also just be against it. Um, and so that's kind of funny. That points to, well, people as sheep who just want to fall in line and follow what other people are doing. But it also points to how um, culture is a thing. Culture is the part of society where these things can spread, and so some dislike can be contagious. And it also points to how language and culture are so intrinsically intertwined, whereas people might have very strong feelings about certain words and certain other parts of our language. But anyway, to me, again, I really don't dislike the word moist. In fact, just knowing how much other people find it gross sort of inspires me to want to use it a little more. But don't worry, I can behave myself at work and everything. But still, it gives me, uh, well, a childish sort of delight in it, like wanting to giggle about it. Kind of like when you hear somebody say, accidentally say doo doo, right? Anyway, it's infantile like that, but hey, that's the thing with the word moist and whatnot.